Hey everybody, Steven here with Oddball Publishing, and today I'm going to cover how we double check our work in Adobe Acrobat, specifically how we check the text box margins so that when we submit our book on Kindle Publishing Direct, they don't flag it and they tell us, hey, your book isn't going to get approved, and then they usually give you like, all right, it's not getting approved because you have text outside the margins. And then you have to specifically ask for the pages that is occurring on. Otherwise, you just assume, well, they're all off, and especially if you have a bigger book, that becomes quite a problem. You don't want to go through all those pages and reformat everything. So if you have gone through that, my suggestion is ask them specifically what is going on with it. That way you can check. The next thing that I'll show you, though, is how we actually check our work, and that will help as well. But I'm going to put a link for this page. This is the setting page size and margins on the Kindle Publishing Direct website with this page count inside gutter. So what you're looking at is the gutter margins, the outside margins, and then the margins if you have bleed. So with this, the difference between having bleed, meaning your image goes all the way to the edge of the page, or not, which could create a white border if you have illustrations. If not, you're just doing a regular book, that's not going to apply to you. But with this, you're looking at the page count. Inside gutter is going to change based off that. Now, we've done kids' books primarily, so we don't have any books that are over 150 pages. Our biggest one is 120 to date so far. That might eventually get there, and that's going to be a whole other workshop for us in terms of following these guidelines, which is, all right, let's say your book is 151 to 300 pages. That inside gutter margin is different now, right? So you're going to go up in size because of that, just because the book is bigger, and what they don't want is that your text is cut off on that inside margin of the book here. So with this is what you're looking at. I'm going to put this in the description box so you guys can check this. Outside margins with bleed versus with no bleed, inside gutter margins. If you notice, so our books are typically under 150 pages. Our inside margins and our outside margins are the exact same, 0.375. Okay, we typically set that in Photoshop, and you guys are going to get a sneak peek at some of our stuff right now. So in Photoshop, typically I'm taking this, and I'll do a separate video on this as well, but that can be a shorter format one. But if I take this and drag this, I get to set this wherever, and that's going to be my margin. 0.377, basically 0.375. And on this other end, my page itself is 6.127 or 125 because we have bleed. And so I have to basically subtract 0.375 from that. And then that's how I basically box out the margins on here. So when I'm creating the page itself in Photoshop, I can make sure based off that I'm within the text box margins, both with the page number if you're going to put that on the page yourself, or you can have them do that if you don't want to mess with that, and that is a service that they will do for you. But just looking at the text, some of ours, like for instance, we're tweaking this page right now. I put a outline, a stroke around the text here. That made it bigger. So even that stroke itself is considered part of the font. It's not going to work. It immediately pushed it over the text box margins there, the gutters. So I'm going to have to adjust this page. Now, once everything is done, we go into Adobe Acrobat here, and you have to have the full version of this. Once you have everything organized, hopefully you're doing that. I recommend you do that in Adobe Acrobat. It's easy to work with, and you can format it as a PDF, which is one of the options for submitting your book. Now, I have the book organized itself here, right? We have the pages lined up. This is our rough, and what I'm really checking at this point with the rough is, where am I at with my text box margins? Are things cut off? And it turns out that they are, so I'm going to have to edit the whole book, but that's kind of standard. We usually do, now we're down to about 3 to 5 passes typically with minor adjustments. Got it a little bit more down to a structured way of doing this. But what I want to do is go to Edit PDF, Crop Pages right here. Once I have that, you need to double click somewhere towards the corner. It might not do it immediately, but eventually if you just keep clicking, hopefully you're not moving because it'll try to select text and stuff like that. But it should pull up set page boxes. apply crop box. Right here is what we're looking at. Top, bottom, left, right. What I'm going to do with this is really just set it to 0.375, right? 0.375, 0.375, and you can see it on the image there, or the page there, that it's actually creating all of that stuff for me. That does that specifically for just that page if I do that. Notice that the other page didn't change. And right here you can see, yes, some of my text is cut off. The Y on they, it's bordering. And the thing is, if it even borders, typically they're going to flag your book there. So that's not going to work as well. And then the bottom part of the page number is cut off as well. So I'm going to go back and do this. I want to not just do it for this page though. I want to do it for every page. So page range here, and I could be specific. I could say page 2 to page 6, right? But we want to do all of them. I'm going to go through, press OK. Now as I go through that book, I can check every page. Because I have some where, hey, the page number isn't cut off. Page 8 there, the page number isn't cut off. Page 9, like a sliver is cut off. I have to change that. Like I said, it will get flagged. So what I'm actually going through is I'm going to go back through everything. I know what I need to do, so it's a minor adjustment to the gutters to make sure, for instance, right here you're seeing on chapter 2 that inside there the letters on a handful of words are actually cut off. I want to make it standard across the board though. So when I do that adjustment, I typically just go back through. I know what I have to change in Photoshop for my gutter boxes to make sure that that doesn't happen. I create a standard across every page. I just go through every page. That can be a pain, I understand that. And we've done one book like 30 times because we had to learn all this stuff the hard way, which is why I want to do more videos like this for you guys. But hopefully this saves you the headache of arguing with Kindle Publishing Direct and essentially getting so fed up that you're like, I don't even want to publish the book, because we were there for a while dealing with our first book that we published, because your formatting has to be on point, your text box, your page itself. So ours is a 6x9 with bleed at 6.125 by 9.25. It has to be that exact size. You can't round up, which is what we did the first time, which is what threw everything off. I was just like, well, I'll make it bigger to cover everything. Well, that throws off your gutters. It throws off your text box. So making sure that those things are on point, and it should go smoothly once you submit it. Now, let's say you go through all of this, they still reject it, and they're saying, hey, you have text outside of the text box. It's bleeding into the gutters there. Ask them specifically. So email them back. You can reply to that email or call them and say, that's fine. I need to know this specific page. And what they'll actually tell you, because they typically don't in the email when they say it's rejected, they'll tell you the specific page, sometimes even the specific word. Like, all right, it's page 8 and the S is cut off. And they'll tell you those specifics, but you have to request it. I don't know if that's just one of those things they're dealing with so many people. It's not something that they typically do unless requested. I don't know why, but you typically have to do that. Both with CreateSpace when I was with them, which got absorbed into Kindle Publishing Direct. So hopefully that helps anybody out there. I've helped a guy out of Nevada with this issue that saw a different video on a different YouTube channel that I have. A guy locally, I've been helping with this. Another 2 separate ladies I've communicated with via email about this same problem, and hopefully, like I said, it helps. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to email me as well. I know that doing comments on this is going to be like a long format. I will actually, if it gets so hectic you're not finding answers and you're literally on the verge of quitting, please don't do that. Just email me. I'll look at it. I'll see what I can find, and hopefully I can help you or point you in the right direction with what is going on with your book. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all of our content, I'm going to be focused on this stuff for a while. with our process through all of this, the things that I've kind of learned dealing with all of this over the last couple of years, and then hopefully pushing towards interviews with artists and authors and stuff like that as well, a little bit down the road. Still working on that. Want to get a podcast going again. We had one here for a couple of years that was a different project, but I want to take all of that and kind of pull it towards this, which is my main passion right now in dealing with these books. But thank you guys, like I said, again, for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you want to continue to follow along with all of my content, our content really here at Oddball Publishing, and check back soon for more videos.